Hey everyone, welcome back to the kitchen. So today we are making a classic comfort food favorite, and that is some Southern cornbread dressing with chicken. Now this dish is made for the holidays. You can also make it for your Sunday dinner. It's definitely one of those warm, hearty comfort food meals. Now, as always, if you want to see the full recipe, you want to go to my website at plussizeinchicago.com, and it's going to have the entire recipe there. So you're going to get started by using 4 large chicken breasts. Now, people, when they make their dressing, they may want to do it with dark meat, so you may only see like legs and the thighs. I like white meat chicken, so I am using 4 large chicken breasts. I'm also going to add like 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, and I'm going to add in some veggies. I got some celery as well as some onion, and I'm going to add some poultry seasoning. Now this is all going into 8 cups of water. That's 8 cups of water that's inside of this pot. So after you do all of those things, you want to at least cook this chicken breast, I want to say, for at least about 40 minutes. And of course, when you're adding your chicken, make sure that you rinse off your chicken first. A lot of people online don't rinse off their chicken. I rinse off my chicken. I patted it dry before I added it to this pot. So once you get all of this going, you want to, have this simmering for about 40 minutes. This is for your chicken and your stock. The next thing that you're going to be doing is getting your cornbread together. So I have my oven preheated to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to start off by adding some vegetable oil to this cast iron skillet. And the amount of vegetable oil is about 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil. And I am going to heat this in the oven. Again, that oven is being preheated at 425 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to cook that, quote unquote, cook the vegetable oil for 3 minutes. Now, you can use vegetable oil, you can also use canola oil, but you want to heat it for about 3 minutes. The next thing that I'm doing is getting my cornmeal together. Now, I use the Pearl Milling Company, their buttermilk recipe of their cornmeal. So I have some in a container already, and I'm going to be getting my cornmeal together. So with the cornmeal, you're going to be adding 2 cups of that cornmeal. You're going to be adding 2 tablespoons of sugar. You're going to also add in 1 egg, and you're going to be adding in some buttermilk. After I get all of these things mixed up, I'm going to also add that vegetable oil that I have cooking in the oven right now. Now, as I had said before, the full recipe is on my website at plussizeinchicago.com, and you're just going to be searching for Southern cornbread dressing with chicken, and that's going to pull up the recipe. Now, this recipe, I kind of technically got it from my mom, but I've made it my own, and it's mostly because my mom doesn't measure anything. And she is the one in the household that always makes the cornbread dressing. And I have been trying to get it down pat for years. I want to say at least a good 30 years I have been trying to make this. And I can say about 2 years ago, she came to the house, her and my daughter, they end up tasting my dressing, and my daughter was like, she thought that my mom had made it, and I was like, nope, I did it. And my mom was like super shocked. She was like, this tastes like my dressing. So I was super hyped once I found out these 2 actually thought it was my mom's recipe. And I was like, you know what? I measured everything, so I had to put it online, and hopefully, you guys will like it too. A lot of my recipes that I have on my website, I actually use for myself, so I can go back and figure out how did I make it. So it's kind of like, instead of having like a binder of recipes, my recipes for the house are online on my website. So if you want to check this out, you want to go to plussizeinchicago.com, and you can see everything that I am doing. So we are at the final stages of making this cornbread. So again, I'm adding those 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil into this cornbread mixture. I'm going to stir that up, and then I'm going to prep my cast iron skillet, because that's what I'm going to be using to make this cornbread in the oven. So I am just going to add that mixture into the cast iron skillet, because remember, it already had oil in there, so it's already quote unquote pre-greased. And I'm just going to add that mixture, and I'm going to cook it or bake it into the oven for approximately 25 minutes and take it out when it's ready. So I'm going over to the stove and I am taking out the chicken breast. So that chicken breast had been cooking for about 40 minutes, and I've added it to a bowl. And now what I need to do is just shred it so that it's in like nice big pieces that, pretty much not bite-sized pieces, but, not too big of chunks. So I'm using a strainer to pull out the rest of those veggies. So with some minced garlic in there, as well as some celery and onions. And, there's still some seasoning down there, like the poultry seasoning that is in there. So that's good chicken stock that's down there. So I'm going to use a measuring cup and pull out 6 cups. So I have 6 cups of chicken stock to use when I'm making the dressing. So the next thing to do is to start getting the cornbread together. So again, that had been baking in the oven and it's ready now. And what I'm going to do is pull this cornbread out and place it into a large bowl. And I'm going to start like layering the rest of the ingredients. So as I pull that out, see, everything is like, it's perfectly made. Like this is homemade cornbread. So I'm going to smash some of that up together. And the next thing to do is to start layering those ingredients. So I'm going to be adding some butter. I have like 2 sticks of butter. This is salted butter. Now you may be wondering, well, why is she putting that hard butter in there? I did have it sitting out for about 30 minutes. But this cornbread is warm and the stock is warm too, so that's going to help the butter melt. So I have my 2 cans of Campbell's soup. I'm using the chicken and herbs. I'm also using cream of celery. So you want to just make sure you use any type of like creamy soup from Campbell's. But yeah, cream of mushroom, any type of cream of mushroom, as well as a cream of celery will work. As I'm adding this, I'm going to start adding in my veggies. So I pre-cut my veggies like a couple of days ago because I'm actually making this during Thanksgiving and it was going to be a lot of cooking. So I have my veggies already pre-cut and pre-diced. So I'm adding in some bell peppers as well as some celery, and that is approximately 1/4 cup each. If you like more bell peppers and celery, of course you can do that, but I'm using 1/4 cups of both bell pepper and celery. Now the next thing I'm going to be adding is some onions. Now everybody knows, if you're following my page, that the hubby does not like onions, but he's going to have to get over it for this dressing. I got to have some onions in there. So this is going to be also 1/4 cups of onions too that has been diced up. This is like a milder onion. I want to say it's one of those white onions, so or a Spanish onion, so it's not as harsh as a yellow onion. The next thing I'm adding is some sage. Now, my favorite brand of sage would be the McCormick brand because I feel like it's a little bit more, the spice level is more potent. So this sage that I got from Badea, it's, I'm using like 4 tablespoons of sage, but I felt like I had to add a little bit more as I was making it. So I ended up adding like 6 tablespoons, but normally it just would be just 4 tablespoons. So if you use like a cheaper version of sage, you may end up having to add more to it, just letting you know. So I'm adding some chicken bouillon, that is the powdered version. So that's 1 teaspoon of that. And later, as I'm mixing this up, I'm going to taste it. I'm going to add some salt. I'm going to add some pepper. So you want to do the same thing too, that as you're mixing in your ingredients, if you feel like you need a little bit more salt, a little bit more pepper, go ahead and add it. This is your dressing. I'm just giving you like the basics of how to get it started. So after I've mushed all that together with a spoon, I'm going to start adding in some of my chicken breast. So again, I had shredded that up earlier. I'm mixing that all in, and any of the seasonings that was with that chicken breast is going to also be combined into this dressing. So as you're adding your salt, you just want to be a little careful. Make sure you have everything added before adding those extra seasonings to that. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is adding in the chicken stock. Now, the chicken stock had, of course, the chicken breast in there, but it also had that poultry seasoning in there. So as I'm pouring it in, all of those seasonings are going to dump in there too. So again, as you're mixing it, once you get everything in there, then you want to taste for salt and pepper, which is what I ended up doing after this. So I ended up adding like 1 tablespoon of black pepper, and I added about 2 teaspoons of salt. So that salt is going to vary based upon what type of poultry seasoning that you use, or if you added like some more salt to it when you was, creating the chicken stock itself too. So just be careful when you're adding the extra salt onto there. Now, we've pretty much done the hard part, so we got our chicken breast together, we got our cornbread together, we got all of our layers of ingredients with the veggies and the seasonings. So now what you're gonna do is just mix all of that up. You're going to get you a nice casserole dish or one of those aluminum pans, which is what I'm using because again, I'm making this for Thanksgiving. And you wanna make sure you spray that down like with some cooking spray. So once you spray that down, you're going to add your basically your mixture into that casserole dish or that aluminum pan, and you're going to bake it in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. You're going to bake it for a full hour, and then you're going to uncover it, and then you're going to cook it for like another 20 minutes because basically you want it to brown, and it should be looking like this. So I hope you all liked what I have cooked in the kitchen today. This cornbread dressing was on point. Of course, everybody liked it. If you do have some leftovers, you can put that in the freezer and you can cook it up for the following Sunday. That's what I've done in the past. So yeah, I really hope you all liked it. Everybody at home, they loved it too. And I'll see you guys next time. So friends, if you're watching this on YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram, shout out to everyone who has subscribed to my channel, or maybe you're following me on one of those social media platforms. Thank you so much for coming back and cooking with me again. If you are new here, my name is Angela, and this is my account Plus Size in Chicago, where I make a lot of easy to cook comfort food meals. You'll also see me reviewing different restaurants in the greater Chicagoland area, or maybe showing you some places I ate while on vacation. Be sure to subscribe or follow me. Also leave a comment and share this video with your friends and family. I'll see you guys next time.